Welcome to Finest Design. I'm Ali Ghanem, and in this series of 8 episodes, I would like to take you on a journey in order for you to make better decisions about your health and appearance. Our appearance is a very important aspect of who we are. The human face, one of the most beautiful and sophisticated organs ever designed in the finest of designs, is a very beautiful organ of communication. Everybody is made to fulfill this finest design. However, due to misfortune, injury, disease, or naturally the aging process, we might find ourselves in places where we would like to alter or restore our facial appearance or our body image. Often, I am in encounters with my patients who are telling me, Ali, we don't want this treatment, or Ali, we would love to have this treatment that we saw on social media. I find that the most important role I have is to educate them about the options available and demystify some of these options. The idea of the Best Design series was born to eliminate some of the ambiguities about the options we may find ourselves before if we are to consider altering, enhancing, or restoring our facial appearance or body image.
So this is a great example how when we are talking about facial assessment, we're not talking only about patients who are quite advanced in their age. Patients at any aspects of their life might present with variable degree of concerns. For example, and following the rule of 9, we will have to start with the surface. You can see that we have a small scar in the forehead that has been quite mature. We move down, we have few, if any, lines that are there without the patient expressing, so we call these static lines. We move down to the middle face and we see some pigmentation in the lower lid and also these tiny little pimples that are called milia. On the nose, you could see some dilated pores, which are very normal with sebaceous skin. We move to the assessment of the dynamic lines. Can you raise your eyebrows? So we see some lines becoming deeper when the patient expresses. Can you frown? These are the glabella vertical lines. And show me this. And these are the nasalis. And finally, can you have a big smile? And you could see here the crow feet moving all the way down to the cheek. In a botulinum toxin context, it's very important to address all the facial muscles in order to maintain the identity and the harmony of the face. In his case, he is really only bothered about the glabella lines and the crow feet. So we try to be selective in paying attention to these. However, we have to modulate the other lines because when we introduce relaxation of the muscles that are treated with botulinum toxin, we have hyperactivity of the muscles that are not treated, and that will disturb the balance of the face. So it's very important to consider the face as a whole. And here we have this beautiful patient of ours. And as you could see, in relation of the assessment, in the surface, we focus on the lines. She doesn't have any lines when she is not expressing. So she doesn't have any static lines. However, if we ask her to frown, can you frown for me? We can see the dynamic lines appearing. And then like this, and she has a very strong procerus and nasalis. That's what she is bothered about. Apart from that, she is very, very happy how her face in relation of the surface, the volume, and the laxity. There is no pigmentation. She has been looking after herself very well, and there is no vascular problems to mention. As far as the volume, from the temples to the forehead, to the souf, to the middle face, to the submalar area, to the lower face, the mandibular angle, the body of the mandible, the chin, the marionette lines, all the aspects of the facial aging that we see volume loss on it has no any meaningful volume loss. She is very optimized and her age is also favorable in this regard. As far as laxity, we can see that the brows at the right position, and you could see very beautiful supratarsal crease. So in a way, she doesn't have any laxity of the upper lid. We don't see any eye bags. She doesn't have any laxity in the orbital septum. We see hardly any nasolabial folds, even that she's in 45 degree, and I can confirm with a little bit of palpation. So she has quite a firm skin. And then finally, we don't see any jowls, we don't see any double chin or laxity of the lower neck. So for these kind of presentations, we are mostly working on the concern of the patient, and in her case, it would be the modulation of the facial expression with botulinum toxin. So you can see that the lines go all the way almost to the hairline. I'm always conservative in the forehead in order to preserve the positions of the brows. Can you frown now? So here we need to be quite aggressive because she has very strong corrugator supercilii muscles. And then do this gesture, yeah, it's very good. So there's a nasalis muscle, and also the procerus has to be addressed. And then big smile, you can hardly see any crow feet, so we will leave the orbicularis alone. Can you gesture of the sad face? The depressor anguli oris are almost non-existent. However, she has a very strong mentalis. So we are only going to work mostly on her glabella and nasal area with just a little bit of modulation of the chin muscles, and that would be that. So what about my own point of facial aging? I have entered my 5th decade a while ago now. And if we look at the surface, so we have dynamic lines. They are starting to become static lines. Forehead, glabella, crow feet, some expressions and dimples. Pigmentation is minimal. Vascular problems, minimal. Some small dilation of pores around the nose. Volume-wise, my temples and foreheads are okay. The hollow under the eyes is a result of the volume loss of the SOOF, suborbicularis fat, which is the padding of the area under the eye. Moving south, there is a little bit of deepening of my nasolabial folds because of the paranasal volume loss. And apart from that, there is no more volume issues. Finally, in relation of laxity, you could see that there is a little bit of lateral hoodedness of my upper lid, which means that my brows has dropped a little bit. Still functionally is okay. The middle face volume loss has led to some laxity of the nasolabial folds and the prominence of the nasolabial fat compartment, and then the laxity of the submental area, that's the double chin. So what options I have for this degree of facial evolution? Botulinum toxin, maybe every 4 to 6 months, a little bit of regenerative peel every now and then to restore the collagen loss, and in the volume, I would use polynucleotides to avoid swelling around my lower lids. And as far as the laxity, I would use high film technology and maybe combination of subdermal laser and some radiofrequency to tighten the skin in my lower face and also above my brows.
So that was the aging process summarized in a few minutes. We learned that the aging process is a very natural and inevitable path on which we all have to walk. It's not always necessary that we worry about it or try to reverse it. However, if there is an emotional or psychological improvement that we can rely on, we can reverse it to some degree. To reverse it, we have many options, and we clustered them into 3. The first one, the green one, are little interventions that have little or no downtime and relatively small risks. These ones, however, are either short-term or incremental, so we have to repeat them. The second cluster are the amber ones. These options are slightly more effective than the green ones. However, they have their share of the risks that we have to be prepared to undergo. And then the third cluster, the red one, is classical aesthetic surgical interventions. These are the most effective interventions. However, they are also the ones associated with highest risks. So we must take our time to consider them very carefully after a lengthy and adequate discussion with our practitioners. Needless to say, they have to be done because of the right reasons. And here in the next episode, we will shed some light on the importance of psychological assessment and evaluation of our expectations in order to optimize the aesthetic outcome. I look forward to seeing you all there, and from the team and from myself, I bid you a farewell.